with a home, it's like a reflection of your inner world. So I'm often trying to not just interpret where they are, but where they want to be. So if you infuse that into the space and the environment and you're creating it to support where they're going,
oh, I love
that's even better.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be doing my first On the Spot with Dawni. I'm here with April Elizabeth today, and I brought you some coffee.
Thank you.
So hopefully you like it done the color that I like.
Yeah, I wanted to try your color.
Okay, cheers. All right, we're going to take a sip first. It's still hot and everything.
It is, and it's really good.
Thank you.
I love it.
Good. I'm glad. It's going to be probably too sweet for some people that I visit. Tough crap. You're going to drink my coffee, and you're going to like it. All right, so April has an interior design company. Is that the best way to put it? You're a designer.
Yeah.
Right? Why don't you tell them a little bit about your company?
So it's mainly an interior design consulting company, but I do have the ability to do full service design. So I have, done the whole house from the beginning to furnishing to the end, custom window coverings, all of that. So it just depends on what the client is looking for. But I even do small color consults, for an hour and help people pick paint, So I have kind of a range of what I do, mainly because I love what I do. And I feel like everyone deserves good design.
I love that. You and I have had many conversations about how we want to be able to work with everyone, right? We don't like this idea of cutting people out because it's exclusive and they're these ridiculous prices, right?
Right.
So we're very alike in that way. Sometimes I call myself a voluntary socialist because I want everybody to have everything they need and, on a volunteer basis. So the name of your company is Azure Elizabeth Design.
Yes.
Okay. I love it. And what, kind of the whole point of this On the Spot is I don't want people to get sick of it just being me, right? I have things that I want to teach and I want to talk about and have conversations about, but I feel like it brings a lot of value to add people from different vocations, different parts of life to give what they have learned so that people can benefit from that. So it's a big question and we can kind of go into more detail, but I would really love to hear from you in all this time of working one-on-one with people. And I'm sure you've worked with people from all walks of life, right?
Yes.
And had many positive experiences and some negative experiences. What would you say that you have learned about people from meeting with them to help design their homes and the interior of their homes? What are some of the takeaways?
So, with a home, as I was saying earlier, it is, when we were talking, it's like a reflection of your inner world. So sometimes your inner world is just you, but sometimes it's your family, your kids, your husband. So it's everybody's inner world combined. But this is kind of where, I guess our skeletons in the closet are. And sometimes they're not in the closet, they're hanging out. So what happens when you start working with people in their spaces, you start seeing interesting reactions and some psychology going on. And I don't go into any appointment or anything looking for anything specific. Like there's no judgment. I actually will go in kind of with a very open mind, trying to tap into my intuition. But as you go along the process, you kind of learn about people's inner world just by the way they work with you and the way they, want things to go, their expectations, all of that. Yeah.
So probably their personalities start to really come out in that initial consultation.
Yeah.
And then your job is to almost interpret their inner world and bring it in a powerful way to the design.
Right. So sometimes our inner world, and I'm going to include myself, is imperfect and we're working on things. If a client is trying to hide that, they're often going to not be open to ideas and change. And so just having your space reflect your where you're at isn't always positive because it can keep you stagnant. So I'm often trying to not just interpret where they are, but where they want to be. So if you infuse that into the space and the environment and you're creating it to support where they're going,
Oh, I love
that's
this.
even better.
I love this. You know, I've seen a lot of your work. In fact, I knew of your work before I met you.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time we met? It was like 6 years ago, and we kind of knew we'd been Facebook friends.
Right.
We knew each other were, but I had seen your work in person at a friend's home.
Oh, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
When I said, who did your kitchen? And he said, April Elizabeth did. And I was so impressed with how you were able to capture his personality.
Right.
But not just his personality, but his core values. So he's someone that loves to entertain and loves to have big groups over. And the space that you helped him design really reflected that. It was very welcoming, hospitable, homey. And I was like so impressed with that. I'm like, oh, she really has a gift for being able to do that. And it made me think how similar what you and I do actually is.
Yeah, it actually is.
Right?
Yeah.
We sit down with someone and we say, okay, what's really going on? And where do you want to be?
Right.
And then let me help you get there. I find it to be such a valuable thing, and I love that you go in without judgment. I think if we have preconceived notions about who somebody is or what they want in life, it's limiting in how we're going to now have an interaction with them.
Oh,
right?
exactly.
We're going to be putting our filters onto them.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So I do wonder about this because I'm going to get a little bit woo-woo, so you guys are just going to have to be able to handle it. I love astrology.
Right.
And I've been studying it since I was 6 years old. And for me, in my astrological chart, I have virtually no earth. No earth elements.
I don't either.
Of course. Of course. All air. All air. So what I've done in my space is it's super earthy. So earth tones, stones, crystals, you know, even artwork that shows nature and homes and things that are very grounded.
Right.
And it's funny to bring almost like a heaviness in, but I need that heaviness to be in my space. Otherwise, I'm going to fly off.
You're up here. And
I'm in
like,
Never
your head all
Land,
the time.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in my creativity and I'm visions and all of these things. Have you found that to be effective when you're working with people?
So, I haven't had a lot of clients on board with that, but I have done astrology. Like I'll do their chart and then we'll figure out mainly what missing elements are.
Right.
But I never say, oh, because you're missing these elements, the whole space needs to be these elements. I try to support the elements that are dominant as well, but I will try to balance it with the missing element because to me, it's like making your home a vision board.
Yes.
You're putting in there
Yes.
that reminder of this is what I need to be conscious of. So, for example, I had a client who was a bachelor and he wanted to get married again. He was divorced and he was really articulate and he was fun to talk to, but he kind of talked in a monotone and he showed no emotion. And I had to do like all of these like little questionnaires and all these things trying to get a touch of what his style was. And he didn't even know what he didn't like. And sometimes that's where you start.
Oh, yes.
But he
yes.
didn't even know what he didn't like. So I was just kind of grasping at straws. So I just went out there on a limb because I've done this for myself. I went out there on a limb and said, how would you feel if I ran your chart and looked at it with my best friend who's an astrologist and just kind of let you know what I find? Well, we found out that he had a ton of earth and air. So he had lots of money, which is your earth.
Earth, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then the air was where he was articulate. But he didn't have fire or water. Water's your emotion.
Fire's your passion.
Fire's your passion. And here he wants this relationship, but he doesn't have any display of passion or emotion, which isn't going to attract much in a relationship.
Correct.
So we did his house based off all four elements, but we brought in a lot of fire and water. So we used like kind of rusty oranges and tomato colors and teals along with, you know, just other colors that represent earth and air.
And probably other textures, right?
Lots of texture.
Okay.
And it was funny because I just mainly helped him design his kitchen, which was kind of the hub and heart of the home. And a few years later, he called me up just to let me know he was married and had a new baby on the way. And I just thought it was really funny because I wasn't saying, here, this is an antidote. but it was put it out there. So every day every day you look at it and you're like, this color scheme reminds me that I need to have more passion and more motion.
Absolutely. I have seen this over and over with myself, where my surroundings are manifesting something. My surroundings are pulling a certain energy into it. So where I see clients at my home, my main intention has been to have it be very calming, very grounding, and like cozy. There's a coziness. It's very comfortable. My couch is super comfy, and I serve my coffee and tea, and it's just like, let's have a cozy chat. My space pulls for that.
Right.
And there's lots of natural light, and you look out my window to some beautiful pine trees, and I feel like it supports my purpose. So that's kind of what you're speaking to.
Well, you're speaking to having total intention in your space and what you're trying to do. And you can use that to like actually pull that into your life. It's easier to say, oh, I'm just going to stay this way till I change, but actually change is easier if you change your space first.
The reason that I chose to start Coffee with Dawni on the spot with April is because I am so passionate about what your space looks like, where you're working from, the place you live. It informs us. I think it affects us way more than we would like to believe.
Oh, yeah.
And I've gotten some pushback on this from my clients when I'm working with them as, like a holistic life coach or whatever you'd like to call me. The space that they live in is so important. And a lot of times they're like, what does that have to do with anything? When April's saying that your home is your vision board, she's absolutely correct. This is the thing that is affecting you energetically every minute that you're there. And if you feel like you have to run from your home, if you have to go somewhere else to think clearly, right? Or feel your own energy so that your house is not a reflection of you, then this can cause a lot of distraction in your life. So what you're speaking to is focusing in on your intention.
Right.
Right? And then working towards that, but having your home be a supportive element of that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So is there anything that you would suggest to, people watching this right now, maybe that they don't even know where to start in creating this in their home? What is the number one tip that you give your clients, maybe even the very first time you meet with them, that as a place they can start to take back the energy of their home?
Well, usually when I'm meeting with clients, it's kind of the idea they have a specific thing that they want to do. So I'm not really coming from it as much of a woo-woo type counselor, but we're often having to start just with one spot because they don't have the budget to do the whole house.
Okay.
So maybe the kitchen's the priority. So we just start there, and I really do try to help them feel supported in it's okay to put your focus here. So if I was coming at it with your question, I would be saying, look at where your energy is stuck. So your energy is going to be stuck where there's clutter. And even just moving the clutter, even if you don't have time to go through it all, even just moving it can sometimes create more energy and more momentum towards actually getting into that clutter. Because a lot of us are busy. We don't have time to just take a whole day and go through things. But just moving energy. I'm not a feng shui practitioner, but I have books on it and I've studied. And a few weeks ago, somebody posted something in a group about your wealth center in your home or your wealth area. And I went, oh my gosh, what's going on with my wealth area? Because I have to remind myself.
What is the wealth area?
Well, what was happening in my wealth area is my husband was piling up a bunch of his junk there. And there was nothing there, first of all, representing me. So if I need to bring in wealth, I have to have some representation for me. So I put in a bunch of symbolic items. I don't have time to decorate it the way I want. I know what I want it to be eventually, but right now I can't.
So is the wealth area of your home, is it like a specific, is it like your living room or your office, or is it the middle of the house?
So if you're standing, if you're standing with your back to the front, like you've looked into the front door.
Okay.
It's the very far left corner.
Okay, I'm just totally asking for a friend. Okay, we're going to handle this as soon as we get home. I'm going to fix my wealth corner.
So I have a plan for what I'm going to do, because that's the back part of my kitchen. but I don't have the budget right now to do it. So I kind of had forgotten, okay, my plan did include representation of bringing in money and wealth and supporting that, but I didn't have the budget yet. It's still this little microwave cart that my husband owned before we were married. And so I took his binoculars off and a bunch of things off of it. And I put a whole bunch of, I put stones that were gold and a whole bunch of things that represent wealth in like red and golds and purples. And it's just temporary, but it's just that awareness that, oh, I wasn't taking care of that part of my space.
Right. Like, what am I wanting to pull in? What am I manifesting? What is my intention here? Right? I love this idea of starting with one area of our homes. It gets very overwhelming if we think we need to fix everything at once. So what if this becomes the challenge for our lovely listeners today, that you choose one area of your home where you feel like your energy is getting stuck. Maybe it's your bedroom and, you know, maybe it's your kitchen, the hub of your home, whatever it is. You choose that and really be intentional with what energy you're wanting to bring into that space. I am going to have April's contact information on the very last page on the closeout of this so that you can get in contact with her if you would love some professional help. And I've seen her work. You guys, she is amazing. And she's so compassionate and sweet and fun and professional. Great to work with. I really appreciate you letting us come to your cute little space here.
You.
This is where the magic happens. And if you just be thinking about this, just be thinking for yourself. If there's some, changes and improvements you want to make, where do you want to start in that? And thanks for drinking my coffee with me.
It was delicious.
All right. May your coffee be strong and your life be blessed. Hopefully I'll be visiting you next.